were taught to look outward. From your very first breath, your senses were directed toward the external world. Shapes, colors, names, rules. They handed you a map, but it was incomplete. It showed you mountains and roads, successes and failures, but never the terrain of your soul. And so, like millions before you, you forgot. Forgot the language of your own energy. Forgot that light doesn't only come from the sun above, but also from within. This is not your fault. We are born into systems of forgetting. The ancients, however, did not forget. Long before satellites and telescopes, they mapped the heavens inside the human being. They spoke of spinning wheels of light, invisible yet powerful, portals through which the soul breathes, feels, and awakens. These were the chakras. Not myths, not metaphors, but maps. And like all ancient maps, they were eventually burned, buried, or co-opted. We were left with fragments, words without the pulse, symbols without the breath. But a quiet remembering has begun. Have you ever felt it? That whisper in your chest that says, there is more? That subtle heat rising in your spine when you meditate or hear truth spoken aloud? That moment in nature or in stillness when your heart beats with a rhythm older than your name? You're not imagining it. You're remembering it. The chakra system is not just Eastern philosophy. It is a universal language, spoken in Egyptian temples, inscribed in Greek mysteries, echoed in Tibetan chants. It describes a ladder, 7 steps, 7 gates, 7 initiations the soul undergoes to become fully human and fully divine. But here's the truth. This ladder isn't linear. It spirals, it vibrates, and it exists within you, not above or below, but within. Imagine this. Your spine is the staff of Hermes, the jed pillar of Osiris, the tree of life itself. At its base lies survival, your primal fire. At its crown, illumination, your golden halo. And between these two poles are bridges of feeling, will, love, voice, vision. You have walked this inner terrain already. Every trauma blocked a gate. Every moment of courage opened one. But you were never taught to see it that way. You were taught symptoms, not systems. Depression, anxiety, disconnection. But what if those were not flaws, but signals? Messages from your energy field? What if the body wasn't breaking down, but trying to break through? The ancients didn't diagnose, they listened. To the breath, to the posture, to the dreams. They observed the color of the aura, the movement of energy in the nadis, the alignment of the spine. They used mantra, mudra, breath, sound, light, not as metaphors, but as medicine. They knew the body was not just a shell, but a sacred instrument, a frequency receiver, a living temple. And yet, you may ask, if all this is true, why was it forgotten? Because power suppressed is power controlled. Systems of domination fear inner sovereignty. When you awaken to your energy body, you no longer follow blindly. You no longer obey dissonant frequencies. You become attuned to your own rhythm, to divine timing, to a deeper truth. And that truth is this: you are not a machine. You are a symphony. A multi-dimensional being of light and sound, emotion and will, matter and spirit. The chakra system is not a fantasy. It is the operating system of your consciousness. And just like any system, it can go dormant or be activated. So let us begin not by learning, but by remembering. Not by adding knowledge, but by peeling away what was false. Close your eyes, take a breath, and feel into your spine. What do you notice? Not the bones, not the muscles, but the pulse. The hum, the silent song. That is you. Beneath the stories, beneath the striving, you are already illuminated. You have simply forgotten how to shine. And that forgetting, it ends now. To understand the chakras, you must first shift how you see the body. Not as a machine of flesh and blood, but as a temple of light. You are layered, not metaphorically, literally. Your physical form is just one of 7 primary layers of your being. The yogis called these layers the koshas, each more subtle than the last. Your chakra system weaves through them all, threading the unseen to the seen. At the heart of this architecture lies the spine, your axis mundi, your world tree. Along it rise the 7 primary chakras, each one a luminous vortex of spinning energy. These are not floating discs or glowy orbs, as popular media might suggest. They are dynamic intersections, points where energy, emotion, thought, and soul converge. And each has its own frequency, its own color, its own intelligence. The first chakra, Muladhara, anchors you to earth. It is the root that connects your being to the soil of existence. This is where survival lives, where ancestral memory echoes. When balanced, you feel safe, grounded. When blocked, fear becomes your master. The second, svadhisthana, pulses with emotion, creativity, sensuality. It is the wellspring of desire and movement, the watery womb of rebirth. When aligned, you flow like a river. When imbalanced, you drown in addiction or freeze in shame. The third, manipura, is your inner sun. It is the seat of willpower, identity, and confidence. When this chakra burns brightly, you feel purpose, clarity, and drive. When it dims, confusion and self-doubt cloud your path. Then comes anahata, the heart, the unstruck chord. This is the bridge between body and spirit. It is where love is not a transaction but a frequency. When it opens, you become a vessel of compassion. When it closes, grief and isolation take root. Fifth is vishuddha, the throat, the seat of truth, a voice of resonance. It is not merely about speaking, but about aligning speech with the soul. When activated, your words heal. When blocked, silence becomes a prison. Ajna, the sixth chakra, rests at the third eye. This is the realm of vision, intuition, inner knowing. It is the gateway to clarity beyond logic. When awakened, you see patterns, truths, futures. When asleep, illusion blinds you. And finally, Sahasrara, the crown. Not a place, but a field. It opens to the infinite, to unity consciousness. When in harmony, you experience peace that has no opposite. When fragmented, you feel disconnected from purpose, from the divine. This is the map, not a myth, but a multidimensional blueprint. Each chakra is both a teacher and a mirror. They show you where energy flows and where it is stuck. They do not judge, they illuminate. But here is the secret no one told you. They are not passive. The chakras are not fixed like gears in a machine. They expand, contract, spiral open under attention, intention, vibration. They are consciousness itself, encoded in the body. And when you begin to work with them, not as concepts but as living frequencies, you begin to change, radically. You begin to feel energy where you once felt numb. You start hearing the body's language, not in pain, but in whispers. You recognize that your heartbreak wasn't just emotional, it was energetic. Your exhaustion wasn't weakness, it was misalignment. In ancient India, chakras were seen not only as energy centers, but as lotuses, flowers that bloom as your awareness deepens. Each chakra has a specific number of petals, sounds, mantras. These are not artistic flourishes, they are codes, activation sequences. You may have heard Lam, Vam, Ram. These bija mantras, when chanted with breath and focus, are not just sounds, they are tuning forks. They vibrate specific regions of your nervous system, endocrine glands, and subtle body. This is not theory, it is somatic reality. Scientists now recognize that the body generates its own electromagnetic field. The heart has a field 60 times greater than the brain. The vagus nerve connects your gut, heart, and voice, bridging multiple chakric centers. The ancient wisdom knew this before any EEG, before any MRI. And so the architecture of your light is not imaginary. It is measurable, it is experiential, it is alive. But most people never access it. Why? Because we were taught to dissect, not to feel, to label, not to listen. We learned anatomy, but not energy. We mastered chemistry, but forgot alchemy. You have the power to reverse this forgetting, to sit with your body like a sage at a temple, to listen to the heat in your belly, the tightness in your throat, the buzzing in your chest. These are not random. They are sacred data. And here is the gift. The more you pay attention, the more the architecture reveals itself. Have you ever felt that sudden chill, that wave of heat, that pressure between your eyebrows when meditating? That is not fiction. That is awakening. That is the architecture responding to your consciousness. So now breathe deeply. Feel into your root. Rise through your spine like a serpent of fire. Touch the sky through your crown. You are the bridge between earth and cosmos. You are the temple and the priest, the code and the decoder. And the architecture of your light, it has been waiting for you to return. What if everything you were told was separate, was actually one? The ancients spoke in symbols. Circles, spirals, triangles, hexagrams, not as decoration, but as keys. Sacred geometry was their language, the way they described energy and form. Today, modern science begins to catch up, rediscovering in numbers and frequencies what mystics knew in silence. Everything vibrates. From the smallest particle to the furthest star, all matter is in motion. Nikola Tesla once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." He wasn't being poetic. He was telling you how to see truth. The chakra system, too, is built upon vibration. Each energy center spins at a unique frequency, interacts with the endocrine system, and corresponds to nerve plexuses in your body. This is not spiritual speculation. It is anatomy seen through the lens of vibration. Your body is not just flesh. It is frequency. Let's go deeper. The root chakra, for example, resonates with low, dense frequencies, matching the physical world of structure, safety, and survival. It correlates with the adrenal glands and governs your fight-or-flight responses. Now compare that to the crown chakra, vibrating at a far higher frequency, associated with the pineal gland, neurochemical balance, and experiences of unity consciousness. What if your experiences of fear, joy, clarity, or anxiety were not only chemical but electromagnetic? What if your thoughts carried frequency and your emotions tuned your field? Enter cymatics, the science of visible sound. When sound is played through a plate covered in fine sand, intricate geometric patterns emerge. Change the frequency and the pattern changes. This is not magic, it is physics. Now imagine your body as the plate. Your cells, your chakras, your aura, they all respond to sound. This is why mantras heal. This is why breath changes mood. This is why silence can be louder than noise. And this is why geometry matters. The chakra system aligns vertically through the spine, forming a column of sacred geometry, much like the caduceus of Hermes, the spine of the Egyptian Djed pillar, or the tree of life in Kabbalah. These symbols were not ornamental, they encoded energetic truths. Why do mandalas appear in every mystical tradition? Why do the pyramids align with stars? Why do labyrinths calm the mind? Because form follows frequency, and sacred geometry is the blueprint of resonance. Your chakras, when aligned, emit coherence, a harmonic field that attracts experiences, people, and opportunities into your life. You don't chase them, they arrive. You don't manifest through will, you align through frequency. And here's what no one told you. Dis-ease is often disharmony. It begins as an energetic distortion, a misaligned note. Left unaddressed, it filters into the body as fatigue, illness, or emotional pain. But if you listen, early, subtly, you can shift it. Realign the frequency, return to coherence. Quantum physics now shows us that observation alters reality, that particles behave differently when watched. Consciousness collapses the wave into a particle. In other words, attention creates form. So when you focus on your chakras, not with fear but with reverence, you begin to shape your reality. Let's make it real. Think of a moment you felt completely off. Perhaps your voice trembled, your gut churned, your hands shook. These are not random reactions, they are energetic data. Your throat chakra may have contracted, your solar plexus may have flared in protest, your root may have lost its anchor. But with awareness, one breath, one sound, you begin to retune. This is the secret of ancient chants, of crystal bowls, of gongs and flutes and rhythmic drums. They are not performances, they are instruments of recalibration. Indigenous cultures knew this. Tibetan monks knew this. Pythagoras, who coined music of the spheres, knew this. He taught that certain intervals, such as the perfect fifth or the golden ratio, could harmonize the soul. And what is the golden ratio but geometry in motion? It's found in sunflowers, seashells, hurricanes, galaxies, and in the ratios of the human body. It is the spiral of DNA, the arc of your fingerprints, the dance of your breath. And yes, it is mirrored in the subtle proportions of your chakra flow. You are not separate from nature. You are nature remembering itself. And so to work with your chakras is not just a spiritual act, it is a mathematical one, a scientific one, a musical one. You are tuning your instrument, sharpening your signal, clearing the static so that the divine song can play through you unobstructed. But why does it matter? Because alignment is power. When your energy field becomes coherent, your thoughts clarify, your body strengthens, your decisions simplify, and manifestation becomes less about trying and more about allowing. This is not wishful thinking. It is resonance. You attract not what you want, but what you are. So how do you become what you desire? You shift your frequency. You cleanse the lower vibrations, guilt, shame, fear. You nourish the higher ones, joy, compassion, clarity. And you move through your days not by default, but by design. Start small. Start with sound, a hum in your chest, a chant before sleep, a tone that makes your skin tingle. Then watch. Watch as your spine begins to feel alive. Watch as people respond differently to your presence. Watch as synchronicity becomes normal and effort gives way to flow. Because the science is simple. When your field becomes harmonic, reality harmonizes with you. You are not a fragment. You are a frequency. You are not chaos. You are sacred geometry in motion. There is a wisdom already within you. You do not need to go far, nor seek out exotic rituals to begin healing. Your breath is the portal. Your awareness is the compass. Realignment begins not with doing, but with being, with remembering the intelligence of your body and the codes held in stillness. Let's start simply. Take a breath right now, deep and slow. Inhale through your nose, hold, exhale gently through your mouth. Again, but this time, feel. Don't just move air, move energy. Can you feel the breath descend to your root? Can you guide it like a river upward along your spine? This is breathwork, not as a trend, but as sacred remembrance. Pranayama, the ancient art of breath control, was never merely about oxygen. It was about prana, life force, chi, ruach, pneuma. Every tradition has a name for this subtle energy that animates the flesh, and it flows not in the veins, but in the nadis, the energy channels, 72,000 of them, say the Vedas. Your breath can awaken them. When you breathe with awareness, you activate more than lungs. You stir the sleeping serpent, Kundalini, coiled at the base of your spine. You send a signal to the chakra system. I am ready to rise, but you must go slowly, gently, like coaxing a flame. Too much force and the system overloads. Too little and the energy stagnates. But when done right, breath bridges worlds. It calms the nervous system, balances hemispheres of the brain, aligns spirit and flesh. And with breath comes awareness. This is the healing key. Your body is always speaking. That ache in your heart, that tension in your neck, that flutter in your gut, these are not nuisances. They are messages. They are chakras speaking in the language of sensation. Ask yourself, where do I feel tight? Where do I feel numb? Where do I feel alive? Scan your body as you breathe. With every inhale, ask. With every exhale, listen. No judgment, only presence. Over time, you will begin to see patterns. Perhaps your throat always clenches in conflict, your vishuddha asking for truth, or your sacral region aches when you suppress joy, your svadhisthana longing for flow. And here's the miracle. The moment you bring loving awareness to a blocked center, it begins to shift. Energy starts to move, sometimes subtly like a breeze, sometimes dramatically like a storm, but always, transformation begins with attention. There are tools to support this realignment. Sound, as we explored, but also touch, gentle pressure along meridians, movement, yoga poses designed to open specific chakras, visualization, seeing light, color, symbol, affirmation, spoken truth to retune the mind. Each chakra responds differently. Root, I am safe, I belong. Sacral, I feel, I create. Solar plexus, I am powerful, I choose. Heart, I love, I am loved. Throat, I speak truth. Third eye, I see clearly. Crown, I am connected. These are not just phrases, they are energetic passwords. When said with sincerity, with breath, with presence, they begin to rewire your field. But the most powerful healer is trust. Trust that your body knows how to heal. Trust that your energy remembers its blueprint. Trust that even in darkness, light is quietly at work within. Let's speak honestly. Realignment is not always gentle. When you begin to clear the chakras, old emotions may rise. Grief, rage, fear, memories long buried. This is not regression, it is release. Just as a river stirs silt when it flows, your energy stirs what was hidden. Let it, feel it, breathe through it. Let your breath be your anchor. Let awareness be your boat. You are not broken, you are becoming whole. Realignment is not about perfection, it is about presence. Not about controlling energy, but dancing with it, letting it speak, letting it guide. And eventually, you will notice the changes, not just internally, but in your outer life. You'll speak more freely, love more deeply, move with ease, manifest with clarity. You'll find yourself in sync with nature, with people, with purpose. This is the gift of alignment, a life of resonance. So return again and again to breath, to stillness, to the sacred map within. You are not the passenger of life. You are the current, and your breath is the key. There comes a moment when knowledge is no longer enough, when the diagrams, the teachings, the techniques fade into the background, and what remains is presence, radiance, you. This is the moment when the chakras are no longer something you activate. They become who you are, not just spinning wheels of energy, but living aspects of your embodied truth. This is the moment of embodiment. You are no longer seeking the light. You are becoming it. The ancient sages spoke of the inner sun, a radiant source of energy and consciousness that lives at the center of your being. It is not a metaphor, it is a frequency. When your chakras are aligned and open, this inner sun shines through you. You feel it in your solar plexus, yes, but also in your heart, your voice, your vision. It moves like liquid gold through your nervous system. You glow. Not because you're special, but because you're aligned. Embodying the inner sun means living in resonance with truth. It means no longer dimming your light to fit the world, but letting your light reshape the world around you. Not through force, but through presence. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real, being fully here. When your root is grounded, you walk with stability. When your sacral is flowing, you create from joy. When your solar plexus is lit, you act with confidence. When your heart is open, you love without fear. When your throat is clear, you speak with integrity. When your third eye is focused, you see the path. When your crown is radiant, you trust the divine unfolding. This is what it means to embody the chakras, to live the system, not just study it. You'll notice something else. Time feels different. You are no longer rushing. You are listening, aligned with cycles, with nature, with the quiet wisdom in your bones. Synchronicities increase. The right people show up. The answers come before the question is fully formed. Not because you've mastered the law of attraction, but because you've become attractive to truth itself. You radiate coherence, and coherence attracts coherence. In this state, manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you're controlling outcomes, but because you're harmonizing with them. You're no longer trying to get energy. You are energy. Moving, choosing, responding, creating from within. And people feel it. They may not know what has changed, but they will feel your presence differently. More grounded, more magnetic, more peaceful. Some will be drawn closer, others may drift away. Let them, because embodiment naturally reorganizes your field. It draws in resonance and releases distortion. And the beautiful part, it's not dramatic, it's subtle, quiet, gentle, like a sunrise, like breath. You may be wondering, how do I know when I've embodied this energy? You'll feel it in the clarity of your choices, in the ease of your speech, in the way your body moves, in the calm within chaos. You'll notice you're not triggered the same way. You respond instead of react. You hold space instead of absorbing pain. And when life tests you, as it will, you return to center faster. Not because life is easier, but because your light is stronger. Embodying the inner sun doesn't mean you escape shadow. It means you illuminate it. You welcome every part of you to the light. The wounded child, the fierce protector, the quiet dreamer. You stop fighting yourself, and you start remembering yourself. This is the path of wholeness. And in wholeness, you become a beacon. Others will feel safe around you, not because you save them, but because you reflect to them what they already are. This is how awakening spreads, not through preaching, but through presence. Not through shouting truth, but becoming it. So, walk in this light, speak from this light, choose from this light. Let it fill your cells, your silence, your smile. You are not the student anymore. You are the living temple. You are the song and the singer, the flame and the fire. You are the eye that opens, the breath that rises, the sun that remembers how to shine. Welcome back. You were never separate from the light. From the moment you took your first breath, the architecture of the cosmos lived within you, spinning, glowing, waiting. The chakra system is not a relic of mysticism. It is the encoded memory of your divine design. A ladder not to climb, but to awaken. A language not to learn, but to remember. We've traveled far together, from forgotten origins through energy anatomy, sacred science, and breath-born healing into full embodiment. And now, the invitation is simple. Live it. Breathe into your truth. Walk as the bridge between earth and sky. Let your coherence light the path for others, not through noise, but through presence. You are not a seeker anymore. You are a beacon. So, beautiful soul, if this awakening has stirred something ancient within you, share it. Pass it on. Let your words be the spark. Let your silence carry resonance. And if your heart feels called, we invite you to comment your experience below, subscribe for more light-filled transmissions, and be part of this rising field of awakened presence. The forgotten science is being remembered through you. Thank you for walking this path.